Right now, I have the lovely pleasure of having Adrian Starks with us today. How are you, Adrian?
Gabby, I'm doing absolutely wonderful. And thank you for having me on the show today.
Yes, and thank you for joining us. And like you just explained to me earlier, you got a little bit of a lot going on. So please just tell us about who you are and what your two companies do.
Absolutely, the life of the entrepreneur, right?
Right.
So, hi, I'm Adrian Starks. I'm a keynote speaker. I'm also a best-selling author, and I'm the CCO of Connect Now Business Network and also the founder of Champion Up. So, what I specialize in a lot is speaking on terms of change making and how to deal with challenges and creating opportunities where those challenges are. So, I work with organizations, I work with teams and groups, I work with students, I work with people individually, and I have a passion for just speaking on the topics of how do you create change in your life?
Mhm.
Is there a technique behind it? And if there is, how do you do it?
Right. And so please, how important is change to our lives? I mean, this has been the year of change that people have had to pivot. So how important is it to know how to change?
It's absolutely necessary for you. It is actually your life depends on it because here's
Mhm.
the thing about change there will always be change. That's what something we're always going to know. And it's
Right.
inevitable, but people run away from it. So it's important for us to understand that there are some things that you will not be able to change,
Hmm.
but there are some things that you are. And the key is to focus on what you can change
Right.
and to navigate through that process.
And as far as that change, can you just run with us as far as what does that process look like to identify the change we can control?
Great way of saying that. I love the term identify, Gabby,
Mhm.
because the first step to change is accepting. So I
Right.
have three steps you go through. The first step is acceptance. And it reminds me of Howard Thurman. He was the prolific writer and mentor to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And
Okay.
he said that there's a time where we all must sit ourselves down and accept our facts
Hmm.
and have a personal self confrontation. So the first step is accepting that you have a problem in front of you.
Hmm.
And if you're not comfortable with that problem or if it's bothering you in some way, the first step is not running away from it. It's not blaming yourself or anyone else or trying to ignore it. It's accepting your facts. I
Yeah.
have something right now in my business or my personal life that is impeding my flow or
Hmm.
causing me to be emotionally unstable or even hurting a relationship. What do I do about that? What can
Hmm.
I do? That's the
Hmm.
first step.
And so going into that, you just mentioned about flow. What are some obstacles that you see some of your peers, your clients struggle with when it comes to that internal energy management and that flow?
Blaming themselves, taking
Mhm.
full responsibility for the problem that's there, and finding themselves being stuck in the midst of the problem.
Mm.
Instead of looking at the outer perspective, what can you look at differently? If I have my finger up here, it's how I decide to look at something from
Right.
different perspectives. So
Okay.
we get into this idea of I've got a problem and I'm going to focus on the problem.
Hmm.
No, you
Mm.
want to try to create solutions. You have
Right.
a
The problem's
problem,
already there.
it's right there. But what are we going to do about it?
Absolutely. And so I want to kind of go back to you in the sense of, okay, so you're a keynote speaker, you're talking about change, one of probably the most difficult things for people to deal with. What is the story of how you got to this point as far as choosing change to be the main topic for yourself?
Well, my life has been all about change. My nickname is actually the champ. So I'll
Okay.
talk a little bit about the whole champion up thing later, but I was given the nickname champ as a child because my parents and my family, they knew I was just this child that I took on challenges and
Hmm.
I wasn't afraid to go through all the things necessary, the changes to see myself come through that challenge. Hence, I was given this champ name. I was always a
Okay.
champ of something. So my whole life has been designed around what can I do differently? I've never been a person that stays inside the box.
Hmm.
Never. I've never been a person that just sticks in a group and says, well, this is my group. I've always been, what can I do differently? So I worked at a call center, a medical call
Okay.
center in Seattle for 8 solid years. Now, like
Mm.
most people, I found myself in a 9 to 5 job that I had outgrown
Mhm.
and I couldn't figure out how to get out of it. You see, I came from a family of entrepreneurs, Gabby. So
Okay.
entrepreneurship was always in my mind.
Right.
But like most people, we get into the story. We go to college, we get
Mhm.
a good degree, we get out, we get a
Go get a
job.
job. Mhm.
I got caught in that, right? And so,
Mm.
but that didn't help my happiness at all. I was making money, I was getting benefits, but I wasn't happy.
Right.
Nothing changed until I did. So when I was in this job, I started thinking about, well, people need to change toward me. And I started blaming people.
Mhm.
And then I had my brother at one point, he sent me a message about a guy named Les Brown. And well, I think we all know who Les Brown is. Great motivational speaker, right? The great
Mhm.
Les, maybe Brown's boy.
Right.
And so I remember listening to Les and him saying some things. And I said, this is not the typical motivational type of person I was thinking. This guy got into my heart.
Mhm.
So after that point, I started thinking about what can I change on this job? And I realized it was me. So I
Mm.
started researching, researching things on psychology, personal development. I would drive from Seattle to Vancouver, Canada to join workshops and to
Wow.
grow myself. So I
Mm.
started specializing in areas of self-development and mindset, and I became infatuated with the process of change. It's not just a one step and you're done. It's multiple things.
Right.
So I started working on myself in a call center. And Gabby, the last 2 years of the call center were my best years
Wow.
because I had an exit strategy.
Mm. You
I
didn't
was
feel
working on
stuck.
changing.
Right.
I was like, I'm not going to be stuck. I'm going to work my way out of here. What I found out was that we must grow forward. I say this a
Mhm.
lot to people, grow forward. We have to change our perspectives, change our thought processes, and more importantly, change our attitude about where we are because we have to advance ourselves beyond our environments.
Mhm.
That's how change happens.
Absolutely. And like you said, change kind of starts with that self-reflection. And so for our listeners, how often should you be doing self-reflection? I mean, of course, you're always thinking about how you can do better, but really sitting there, analyzing what you're doing, analyzing your business, your life, how often should someone do that?
Daily.
Okay.
But here's the thing about self reflection, don't turn it into self sabotage. People
Mm.
do this. They reflect and they think about what they're not doing,
Mhm.
what's going wrong. We want to reflect on what have we learned that day. You've got into a conversation with a peer or family member or someone and it turned into a disagreement or argument.
Mhm.
What can you get out of that? How did you respond? Why did they get under your skin?
Mhm.
There was a problem at work and you started blaming someone else instead of finding a solution and helping them. Why did you do that?
Mhm.
You get impatient with someone. Why are you getting impatient? Every day is a learning lesson for us, and we have to look at what we are doing. It's what we're giving into our environments that's creating our environments,
Mhm.
and we don't realize that a lot. It's our actions toward the people and the things in our environment that actually change our environments.
Right. And so, and then, like you said, the impact once you start with you, it spreads to everything, to other people you're around, your businesses, your life, everything.
It certainly does. We must radiate success. We must radiate happiness. It does
Mhm.
not come from the outside.
Mm, it starts with us. I love that. It
That's with
must
us
radiate
always.
that, yes, as key. And so you're a very positive person. Obviously, you're trying to help people change life. How do you live purposefully? How do you just do that every single day? What is a driver for you?
I love that, Gabby, and I love the fact that you said the word purpose.
Hmm.
For years, especially when I was in my younger years, I would always walk around saying, what is my purpose in life? What is my purpose? What is my purpose? What is my purpose? It drove me crazy. It took me years later to figure out that your purpose is what you decided to be. It's
Hmm.
becoming purposeful. Every day when you wake up in the morning and your feet hit the ground, are you saying, thank you for another day?
Mm.
Let me go out here and make some magic happen. So every day I wake up and I'm thinking about whose life can I touch today?
Hmm.
What compliment can I give to someone today? What compliment can I give to myself?
Mm.
What new thing can I learn today? How can I put a different, I call it personal trademark of myself on something?
Yeah.
That's what makes me ring and gives purpose to life. It's how we should be co-collaborators with life
Yeah.
and work in harmony with it. So being purposeful is not resisting the things that come your way. It's
Hmm.
opening the doors, allowing yourself to learn something new, and even allowing yourself to get feedback from people.
That personal trademark. You trademark the word personal trademark. That is,
Personal trademark. We have I tell this all the time.
yes.
There's a reason why we all have different fingerprints.
Hmm.
There's no sibling, no parent or child. There's no even
Nothing.
nothing. All different fingerprints because we're designed to put something different on something in this world.
Yes, and just your philosophies and your mentality is so powerful. And so I really want to know, what does being a conscious business leader mean to you?
Being a conscious business leader means a lot of things, but the most important thing is vulnerability.
Hmm.
You have to be open to know that it's not about you.
Right.
It is about a vision that you have, and you need people around you that
Hmm.
believe that vision to help you. There's a saying that no man's an island, Gabby, but I believe that no human being is an island.
Hmm.
And when we can get into this conscious business leader mentality of realizing we need a team, we need supporting factors around us, then consciously we need to start thinking about, who are these people?
Right.
What are their feelings? What do they care about? What gets them going? Do you know
Mm-hmm.
their birthdays? Do you know their children's names or spouses' names? Do you know their favorite things?
Mm-hmm.
Being conscious is also understanding that you're not going to know everything as a business leader.
Right.
I find there's a lot of leaders out here, they say a lot of things and they give out this aura of being perfect. And that's okay if it works for them, but I'm not perfect,
Right.
you know,
Accept
and
those
I
imperfections. Mm-hmm.
it's imperfection, but it's understanding that you're not going to have the best idea all the time.
Right.
If you have an idea someone wants to add to it, let them add to it.
Mm-hmm.
And also being a conscious business leader means you're leading by action, not just by talking.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me what you do, show
Show
me
me. Mm-hmm.
what you do. That's what I want to see.
And so, like you just said, you mentioned as far as, caring about other people, knowing them, really understanding them. How do you have that balance between, okay, it starts with me. I need to have the self-reflection and make sure I'm good to make sure I can spread it to other people, but also being conscious and aware of what other people need. How do you find that balance?
The balance comes from the moments of being quiet with yourself. You
Hmm.
got to know when to center yourself. There's a difference between being self focused and then also being centered. A lot of
Hmm.
times when we are focused on things, we're focused on everyone outside of us. We don't center ourselves.
Right.
Hence, this causes the feeling of inadequacy. I'm
Hmm.
not being seen. I'm not being appreciated. Well, it's because you're not giving it to yourself. We're adults. No one's going to tell you, hey, time out, go and take care
Right.
of yourself. No one's going to do that. So we have to have this understanding you got 24 hours in a day.
Hmm.
And if you tell me you don't have enough time for yourself, we've got some big problems.
Right. That no one else
You've
can
got to
solve but you.
you've got to be able to say, I need this time to think, I need this time to free my mind a bit.
Hmm.
And then because you can't give what you don't have.
Hmm.
And so if you're trying to give everything to everyone and be in everyone else's life and help them, then who's going to help you?
Right.
So we have to have this understanding that you have to be responsible just to say, I need this time for myself.
Hmm.
I need to take care of numero uno. I need to take care of me.
Right.
And if I don't do that, who will?
Absolutely. 'Cause I know I've gone through that where I say that like every probably
Yeah.
six months, my cave need a recenter. I've gave myself a lot of different pieces, and you just have to take that time. And like you said, it takes you, not someone else. Be like you're burnt out, whatever. You're not always gonna have that person. You have to do it for yourself.
It takes you, and it's not being selfish.
Right.
It's not.
Not at all. Not at all. And so with all this great knowledge, please tell us about your free ebook.
So my free book is called Finding Your Inner Champion. In this book, I dive into more of a dark part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I went through a divorce years ago. And at that point, I was trying to discover myself and work through the challenge.
Hmm.
And I wanted to bring this to reality of people of not like, this is my dark moment and you can get through yours too, like a rah motivation.
Right.
It's nothing like that. I wanted people to understand that I'm vulnerable, that like anybody else, I had a thing that I was going through. And this is how I was able to work through it. And
Mm-hmm.
I also talk about parts of going to Italy and being inspired by the Renaissance artist Michelangelo and
Oh
how
yes.
seeing a lot of his special works, inspired me to learn to be a creator. And then I started discovering the idea of the art of change.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this ebook, I talk a lot about how the process of the 1, 2, 3. Where do you start? What do you do next? And what do you do to end it? And
Mm.
how do you grow forward with it?
Okay, and then on top of your ebook, Adrian, where can people go to get the ebook, first of all, and where can people just go just to learn about your businesses and about you yourself?
So they can go to a couple places. So one
Hmm.
place is the www.cnbn.ca. That is the Connect Now Business Network. So it's
Okay.
www.cnbn.ca. And the other website is bookadrianstarks.com. They can go there to see more about my speaking and who I talk to and my messages. And they can also get that free ebook download as well too from the cnbn.ca website.
Wonderful. Adrian Starks, what a joy it has been to have you on here and to share all of that amazing knowledge. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. And thank you for your time.